Well, welcome to the Connect Groups. We're so glad that you're here. Week 2, Ephesians chapter 2. So, we want to highlight something for you just so that you can maybe jumpstart your conversation tonight in Ephesians chapter 2. So, here's what it is. It's verses 3 and 4 and 12 and 13 of chapter 2 that we want to talk about. So, I'll read them and then Tom will give us his insight on it. So, here's what it says. Verse 3, it says, "Among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of our body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, all like the rest of mankind. But God, by being rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he loved us." So that's the first one. And then the second one is verse 12 and verse 13. It says this, verse 12, "Remember that you were at the time separated from Christ, alienated from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers to the covenants of promise, having no hope without God in the world. But now in Jesus Christ, you were once far off, have been brought near by the blood of Jesus Christ." So Pastor Tom, you like God's big butts. So you let us into a little bit of it.
That's right. I've always thought that'd be a great title for a sermon, God's Big Butt. And in both cases here, the word but provides a significant change of direction. Mm-hmm. And that's what the word but means when you think about it. If you had a babysitter and you came home and you said, "Well, how did everything go?" And the babysitter said, "Well, everything went good, but..." That word "but" means you throw out everything they just said. Everything went good. Yeah. Because what comes after this "but" is going to be very significant. Mm-hmm. It's going to be all that we think about. And so in these passages, Matt, that you read, it talks about our old nature, the way we used to be, the way we were in times past, driven by our own lusts and our own desires. But God. Mm-hmm. God did something, and it changed everything. Yeah. And a significant change of direction for us, and I think that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah. And as we read through Ephesians, we have to remember that this book is all about us being brought into the relationship with Jesus, into the covenant family of Israel with Abraham and his family. So what do you see in these buts that show us part of that being brought into the family?
Well, I agree, and it's all about, and it's easy to read it and miss it if you're just reading sections at a time, but the whole theme of the book is the two made one. Mm-hmm. And so you had the Jews and you had the Gentiles. Jesus came, broke all the barriers, and now we can be one family as Christians. And so I think that needs to be something that we're very cognizant of. I think of the veil being rent in two when Jesus died on the cross. That was very significant. Mm-hmm. It was rent in two from the top to the bottom. And that pictures the fact that God did it, mm-hmm. Man didn't do it. And so that's a very important part of what we're talking about in the book of Ephesians, is that the two are made one.
Yeah, right on. And that's something we want you to really focus on tonight as you guys are meeting, is as you're reading through Ephesians chapter 2, look at the difference between the first part of each section and the second part of each section after that word "but." There's distinct differences, and I think those differences are very meaningful. Well, have a great night, enjoy yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next week.